Hi, so what is polished concrete floor? Well, my name is Alex from Caementa. We are a company specializing in polished concrete overlays. And today I just wanted to explain briefly what are the differences. First of all, try to answer the question, what is polished concrete floor and what various options there are on the market, in the UK at least. So traditionally, polished concrete would be a thick concrete slab, 100 millimeter or thicker, that is poured on directly on site and finished either on the same day with the power floating method once it gets to the certain strength, or left to cure to dry fully and then diamond polished either to a minimum or a little bit more aggressive, depending how well you would prefer to expose aggregates. With the mine aggregates, exposure is typically referred to as a salt and pepper finish. With the big aggregate exposure, you can call it like terrazzo effect, polished concrete floor, and so those would be the finishing options for the traditional concrete. Okay, and overlays, that's what's actually our company specializes on. There are various overlays. Typically you would put them directly on existing subfloor, substrate, typically discrete. It could be with or without underfloor heating, and there are many options for those types of underlay. There could be a microcement. That's probably one of the most popular overlay type, certainly for residential environment or like retail as well as aggregate offices. It's definitely not to be qualified as an industrial type of coating. Then there are a variety of poured kind of self-leveling types of polished concrete overlays. In a way, you would typically pour it as any other self-leveling screed, but then you would have to do it in a certain way, so it's aesthetically pleasing. With also self-leveling polished concrete overlays, you could have options that could contain aggregates, whether to give you this salt and pepper type of look, or larger aggregates to give you terrazzo look. Typically both of those options would require diamond polishing after the flooring has been installed and dried. Okay, so if to touch up briefly on the pros and cons for each of the systems. For the traditional polished concrete floor, the key benefits of the system, it's obviously it's traditional. That's what we call authentic polished concrete floor. Particularly the option which is installed and power float, it will give you this nice random appearance, typically what most people like in polished concrete floor when they decide to go for it. It could look very minimalistic, kind of modern, and very also practical floor in a way. So, and also when you have a brand new construction, when you're building from scratch, the traditional polished concrete floor could also be a far more cost-effective scenario, because effectively your foundation, in a way, could be your final floor finish. Obviously, if you're considering things like underfloor heating, etc., that may be questionable. Plus, also the crackability of the floor is another aspect. Okay. I must say, for things like industrial environment, for kind of builders merchant like B&Q or Travis Perkins, traditional polished concrete probably the best type of flooring. You could get there, cost effective, very durable, and relatively quickly to install, and etc. etc. When it comes to residential or retail environment, it might be a different matter. From our experience, in a lot of projects we are carrying out were like house extensions, possibly flats and apartments in London, and it's very, well, by definition, almost impossible to install traditional polished concrete floor like 100 millimeter to control everything and achieve aesthetical value. So where the key benefits of the overlay systems come into place. Okay, so if you have existing substrate, you don't want to dig it out to give you that depth of 100 millimeter or thicker for the traditional concrete, then you simply put overlay over existing substrate. There are certain criteria for that substrate. Ideally, you want to have a solid substrate, like screed or existing concrete slab, but particularly when it comes to microcement overlay, there are ways to prepare the substrate, almost any substrate, for the application of microcement overlay, even over quite a large areas, completely seamlessly. And my overlay system also works very nice with underfloor heating, and we've completed projects like over 100 square meters, even 200 square meters, with underfloor heating with no joints whatsoever. If it would be the case with a traditional concrete, it would be absolutely not possible, at least for now. Maybe at some point there would be new formulation of the concrete that would be tension free and won't contract and expand in response to the heat generated within this floor. So that's actually one of the disadvantages of traditional polished concrete. When it comes to underfloor heating, yes, you can do it, but you would have to introduce quite a few expansion joints. There are various flooring, but those kind of base could be somewhere in size between 3 by 4 meters to 4 by 4, or maybe 5 by 5, 5 by 6, something like that. Ideally, you want to be kind of a nice proportional square or rectangular shape. Whether it's with the overlay, not every overlay, but with the overlay in general, and microcement specifically, you can have completely seamless floor over the large area, and that, from again my aesthetical preference, from my experience, when you have the floor, particularly large area, one big open space room, which is completely seamless, that would give you this wow factor. Okay, so yeah, so where the overlay could be more beneficial as opposed to the traditional concrete. Another key difference, so with the traditional concrete, because you have to prepare so much concrete, so much volume of concrete in one go and pour it, I would say that the choice of the colors available and the stability of the colors across the entire floor could be not as under control, or not as huge as opposed to the overlay. For example, some overlay systems like Pandoma, for example, which we use, pretty much we can generate any color based on RAL system. It's not going to be exactly like RAL code, but it would be in that area, because RAL is really for the paints and resins rather for cementitious products, but that could be at least some sort of reference point. And if you think of it, the choice could be like hundreds, if not thousands, of options. With microcement, particularly microcement that we tend to work with on a regular basis, that particular product, when we place order with the factory, in this case it's a French manufacturer, there are 90 standard colors, and all the colors all the cement pigmented at the factory level. So by the time we get to the material, it's already pigmented, so we know the human error is eliminated when it comes to mixing cement on the job, because very often if you have to pigment the product on site, a little bit of a difference, 1 gram plus or minus during the mixing, it could affect the color consistency. So in some microcements, some overlays allow that. They come directly from the factory in pigmented cement powder. Okay, so, and that also, yeah, give you more options for the colors, and also once you apply the floor, you would have the consistency of the color in a much better way, and probably less of things could go wrong. You have more control during the application. So that's another kind of advantage and disadvantage between traditional and concrete floor and overlay. So another thing, another difference, as I mentioned already briefly with the underfloor heating, but overlay system and microcement specifically, much better to be laid seamlessly, in this case regardless whether with or without underfloor heating, over large areas. you can even lay 1,000 square meters with no joints with something like microcement, whereas with traditional concrete it would be 100% not possible. Again, unless it would be some sort of modified new version, new chemical formula of the concrete. Must admit here that it also depends heavily on the substrate involved, but there are ways to, even with the difficult substrates, to do things, to prepare it in such a way, so the risk of crack coming from the substrate due to the movement of the structure, whatever, it is possible to bring it up to absolute minimum. Even so, it's not possible to eliminate 100%. So that's another advantage of the overlay system. So for a residential environment, most projects that we applied, they were kind of one-piece floor, and that's what gives it a kind of wow factor, and also it affects on the practical capabilities of the floor, because there are no, typically people, when they go for polished concrete floor, they decide between whether to go for the tiles or concrete, and one of the disadvantages of the tiles, it has grout lines. Otherwise, things like porcelain tiles, they're probably one of the most practical types of floor and very durable. And but the grout lines, even though the quality of the grouts nowadays is much better, they kind of kills the look a little bit, kind of separate the floor into those tiles, but also from maintenance perspective, they typically absorb and gather some of the dirt. Whereas with the concrete, seamless floor, there is no gaps for the dirt to be accumulated in. Okay. Yes, there are some other elements on the maintenance side, which I probably will cover in different videos that are applicable to polished concrete overlay or traditional. But overall, from this point of view, it's easy to maintain. Okay. So hopefully I did answer some of the questions in this video. If you do have any specific questions, or maybe something you think I missed on something, please do comment or send us a message, and we'll try to cover it in future videos. So thank you for watching.